Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video on the board, the pieces, and how to write the notations. In this video, I will teach you all about how to place the boards correctly and what each piece is called, how to track the moves, and what are notations exactly. So this is all that we are going to cover in this video. The first thing to notice how you place the board. So if you see, typically all the boards come with the labels A, B, C. As you can see, this sort of labeling will be there on a standard chessboard that you buy. So the player who is playing white will always take A1 square to his left. The board has to be placed in such a way that the A1 square is on the left side of the player who is playing white. So if you are playing black, the H8 square should be on your left. For example, like this, H8 will be on your left. So this is how you place the board correctly. Next thing is, you should understand that each square on a chessboard has got a name. For example, if I have to call out this square, this is called E4. How it is called E4? As you see, first A, B, C, D, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is E4. That's how you name the square. One of the things that you should keep in mind is all the rows have got a name. In chess, the professional chess, what we call is each row is called a rank. So this is first rank, this is say fifth rank, and this one is eighth rank. So the rows are designated by its numbers, and you call the first rank, second rank, third rank, and up to eighth rank you have. So that is one. Next, the columns also have designated ways of calling it. Like this is called the A file. For instance, this is called C file, and this is called the H file. So the columns are called files and the rows are called ranks. This is something, a fundamental understanding that a professional chess player should have. As a beginner who is aspiring to move into the professional chess, you should get a hang of how a rank and a file is addressed. The next part is, we also should keep in mind that each square has got a name, and we say it by first calling the file and the row to which it belongs. Here, in this case, it is E file and fourth rank. So this is called E4. Let's check your understanding. Now, if you have to call this particular square, how would you call it? That's right. This is called C6. It belongs to the C file and sixth rank. So C6. Right. Now, another challenge for you. If I have to call out this particular square, how do I call? Yes, the answer is G8. It belongs to the G file and 8th rank. G8. Right. Now, it's also time to understand the pieces, how they are called. As you see, there are 8 tiny little forces here. These are called pawns. The pawns are the basic pieces of your force. And there are also very high level powerful forces that are in your army, and you should know each of them. So the pawns are the least valued piece. Its worth is just 1 point. We will explore further about how each piece moves in another video. In this video, it's all about just knowing the pieces and its piece value, right? Now, this is called a rook. Its worth is 5. This is called a knight. Its worth is 3. This is a bishop and its worth is again 3. And now comes the very interesting piece, the queen, the strongest piece on board. Its worth is 9 points. And you have king. The king is very important piece. It is not that much of an attacking piece, but however, you should also remember this is the most critical piece as the entire game depends on its safety. So it has got 0 points or it has no value. Then you have another bishop, 3 points, knight, 3 points, and rook again, 5 points. So that's all about your army. And I hope that you have understood all the pieces and its values. Now let's see how you can record a chess move. In chess, you are expected to record your game. If you want to be in the professional space, you are expected to write down your moves, and same is expected from your opponent as well. Once the game concludes, you write the result and provide it to the arbiter who will collect it and record your results. Now, this is a standard practice at professional chess. So it's not so complicated. I will show you how that is done. Let's say, for example, you want to move this pawn 2 steps forward. Now, how do you call that? How do you record it as a chess move? The simplest answer is you don't have to say anything specific to the pawns. You just need to say the square name. If I say e4, it means that the pawn has moved 2 squares from its starting position and reached e4. Right? Now, let's say black plays 2 steps forward. Now, what is this called? Yes, it's called e5. So, one move from white and one move from black put together makes one set of move. So, right now, we have played just one move, as one set of move, right? Now, white comes up with the second move. Now, he wants to move this. What is this piece called? It's knight. Let's say he wants to bring this knight out to f3. Now, how do I say it? It's denoted as n. Knight is denoted as n because the king is also starting with k and knight is also starting with k. So king gets the first preference and k is allotted for representing king movements. So knight is represented as n f3. That's how you record your moves. Now don't worry about how this knight moves because I will explain specifically in another video how each of these pieces move. Right now, it's time to understand just how to record the notations, right? Now, let's say this knight wants to come here. How do I say that? It's NC6. That's how you write it. Now, let's say I wanted to move my bishop here. How do I say that? BC4. Black also develops this bishop, let's say here. Now this is BC5. And now white has a very special move. It's called the castling. There is already a video on how to do the castling, but I will share the link for that video in the description. You can follow that. Here, for the understanding purpose, I am going to show you that you move 2 steps to the right and the rook moves 2 steps to the left. And this is called a castling. And how do you write that? You write it as O, O. 2 O's represents short side castling. That is, the piece has moved 2 steps to this right? And this rook has moved 2 steps to the left. That is O, O. All right. So that is how you record a uh, castling in notation format. Now, let's say black plays something like d6. Now, white just brings his knight here. How do I call it? NC3. That's right. Now, let's say bishop moves up and then comes here. What is this? Bishop G4. Right. Now, I wanted to move this pawn up 1 step, or let's say I just move this pawn 1 step forward. This is called D3. I'm just moving the pawn. It's not a piece, so I just need to mention the square name alone, which is D3. Right? Now the queen moves 1 step forward to D7. Queen D7. And now I develop my bishop to E3. BE3. Now comes a very interesting question. If this bishop tries to capture this bishop, how do I write it in a notation format? The answer is pretty simple. Bishop is represented as B. So B, it is capturing a piece. So the capture is mentioned as X. X indicates capture. And where it is moving to? It's moving to E3. So the right way of representing is BXE3. Right. Now I wanted to capture it with this pawn. How do I write it as a notation? It's simple. You don't have, it's not a piece, it's just a pawn. You don't have to mention anything about you don't have to say P because it's pawn. You don't have to say P. It's just the square name alone. Where it is moving, it's going to E3, FX E3, because the pawn that is on F is moving to E3, FX E3. That's how you write it. All right. Now there is another interesting move that needs some attention, which is, let's say this king wants to castle the long side. Now you move 2 steps to the right, and this rook moves 3 steps to the right. And this is called long side castling, which again is explained in another video. You can follow that. This is how it's represented. O, 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 because it moved, the rook here moved O, O, and O. That's how you represent it. So that's the basics of how you should capture your moves. And now let's see certain special cases where it is slightly higher order concept, little bit of complications into writing down the notations. Those things we are going to discuss now. So I'm going to bring in the next position. So here is a challenge. Now, white wants to develop this knight to D2. How do you write it as notation? The answer is, if you thought that ND2, you're not wrong, but there is a slight, confusing element here. There is another knight here that can also reach out to D2. So how do you differentiate which knight is coming to D2? In order to simplify the process, we have to mention N, which is sitting on B file, B, D2. N, B, D2. All right. Now, I wanted to bring out this knight here. How do I say that? Can you find the right way of writing notation? Yes, knight G F6, and that's how you write it. Perfect. Now, another example I will bring in now. So here I wanted to bring this rook here. As you can see, this rook can also reach out here. How do we differentiate? There are two rooks that can come to e5. So if I say rook e5, it is not clear which rook. So what I do here, I choose the A file as the reference, rook A e5, and that's how it's written. Now let's say black wants to play this rook back here. As you can see, this rook can also go back here, right? So how do we denote that it is this rook which has to go to b8? The right answer is rook b8. It is a b file rook which is moving to b8. So rook b8. Now another challenge. Suppose I wanted this rook to be moved here. Now how do I say that? Both the rooks are on the e file, so we cannot say rook e4 because e3, because it means that both the rooks are on the e file and any rook it can denote. So we don't have that clear distinction. For that purpose, we say rook 5, the fifth rank rook is moving to e3. Rook 5 e3, r5 e3 is the way that you write. Now, one last challenge, that is, I want this rook to move here. Now, how do you denote it in notation format? All right, that is rook e d8. That's how you write it. So, in this lesson, we learnt about how to place the boards, what are the various pieces that you have, their piece values, and how to capture the moves in notation format. This is all that we have learned so far. In the next video, I will also introduce something called FEN format, which is Fawcett-Edwards format of capturing a random position. Like, for example, this is some position that you see here. How do I just quickly say that this is where the pieces were located? And that's where FEN format helps us in recording a position. All right. So that I will introduce you in the next video. Along with that, I will also introduce piece movements and their values with more scientific explanations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned and looking forward to meet you all again another time. Thank you.